Okay, to review today we have a little accessory which is very, very useful for iMac users. It's a Cateck, or however you want to pronounce it, Premium 4-port USB 3.0 hub for iMac. It has a sleek, basically first I'm going to actually go over the specs to you. I'll show you it closer up and then at the end I'll give you my opinions on it. But right now, there is something I'd like to point out, a little mistake in some product descriptions for this. Well, it's not completely a mistake, it could technically be right and maybe you'd be fine with using it in this way, but it's really designed for iMacs because it attaches to the base, to the bottom where the air vent sort of areas are. It attaches kind of like to the bottom of it, then the cable goes around and plugs into the back, into a USB port around the back, so you don't have to turn your monitor around and reach around to plug something in, which is very handy. But they also say it works for Mac Pros or MacBooks, and it does technically work, but it isn't attachable. You'd have to have it sitting next to like your laptop, and I'll show you that in a minute, because it's the design of it isn't made to attach to a MacBook Pro or whatever. It's designed to attach to it's made to attach to an iMac, a slim iMac, which is the November 2012 models or newer. That is what those kind of little teeth at the top are, is for helping it attach it. But anyway, I'll go briefly into that a little bit more later about the way you attach it anyway. Now, as I've mentioned, it is for iMacs from November 2012 or newer, including the 5K model, so the 21 inch, the 27 inch, the 5K model even. And it has a built-in surge protector, which is really, really handy. It prevents any surges in your power and destroying devices like memory sticks, anything like that. So it's really, really good that this has a built-in surge protector, something you may think might be left out in a product of this sort of price range. It's normally more expensive, not always, but it's a nice addition that they didn't have to include, but they have, and it's plug and play and hot swappable. It has USB 3.0 transfer rate of up to 5 gigabits a second. Now, one thing I need to point out here, in a description I saw on a product page, they recommended you plug it into a USB 2.0 port. I think that is a misprint, because if you plug this into a USB 2.0 port, it will be compatible, but you'll get slower transfer speeds. You won't get USB 3.0 transfer speeds if you plug it into a 2.0 port. So I think that is a misprint. I think they recommend that you plug it into a USB 3.0 port. And as I've just sort of mentioned, it is compatible with USB 2 and USB 1 devices. Now, this is another misprint in some areas. Some things say it's compatible with Mac OS 9.1 or newer, and another description says 10.6 or newer. I think I would go with 10.6. I can't try it on a really old device that uses 9.1. But I think even though it says on the box and somewhere on a product page that it's Mac OS 9.1 compatible, I don't think that is accurate. I would go by the other description, which says it is compatible with Mac OS, OS X, OS 10, version 10.6 or newer, and it is compatible with Windows 98 SE edition or newer, and Linux 2.4 or newer. For a stable connection, you're going to want to make sure that the combined load is no more than 5 volt 900 milliamp an hour. So make sure that if you have 4 things or whatever plugged in, that it doesn't exceed that, to make sure it stays stable, otherwise you might lose connection, things like that. So that's something to bear in mind. And if you're using an external hard drive, if you plug in an external hard drive, they do recommend that you power that hard drive via external power, but it isn't 100% necessary. It depends upon the device, but that is something to bear in mind. Let's take a little quicker look at it, what's included, and then I will tell you about the price and my recommendation, but let's have a proper look at it first. As you can see, I'll show you this a little bit closer up in just a sec, but as you can see, there are teeth, kind of like teeth bits here. They go up in the grill, and I'll show you a picture from the product page. There's your 4 USB 3.0 ports. Let's turn it around. here, you have little screws, and you unscrew that first. You unscrew both of those, just loosen them before you put it on, then you tighten them up. Now here you have two ports. One is optional, and you'll need an extra power supply for that. I'll go back to that in one sec. Then you have a mini USB 3 port here, and the cable is included. So you put one end into that, and it's really obvious which end. Then the Type A, the regular USB end, into a USB 3 port on your iMac for transferring. Now you only get so much power from doing that. So optionally you can use a DC power supply, but that is not included. You have to get that separately or already have one that's compatible. And that's really it. You have these teeth bits and these unscrewable bits for attaching the device. Then you have your USB port, and you plug the other end into your iMac. Then optionally, and if you're not going to use this, you have a DC power port, and that will just give devices attached to this, like any USB devices or hard drives, whatever you might have plugged in, extra power to make sure they're stable and they get enough power, especially if they're a bit heavier devices or you have 4 quite high powered things plugged in. One little tip they do give you in the manual is some USB 3.0 devices require a direct connection to the host USB 3 ports, including some USB 3 hard drives. So just bear that in mind. Some are a little bit fussy and they can't be plugged into something like this. They have to be plugged directly into a computer, not any other external USB port. So just bear that in mind. If something don't work, it could be that reason. At least if it's a USB 3 device, probably a hard drive. Though that won't apply to all hard drives, it depends upon the device. So just bear that in mind, but it's not a fault of this, it's a fault of the particular device. The steps to attach are take out of the box and unscrew both of the screws. You unscrew the screws, insert it into the holes of the iMac at the bottom, screw both of the screws at the same time if you can at the bottom of your iMac, and connect the hub to your iMac via the included cable. That I won't really show it to you, that is just a leaflet there, just basically giving you the basics, which I've pretty much gone over all that anyway, and it tells you the steps to attach it. Let's actually turn this back around. Okay, this is the cable. I'm not going to show you too thoroughly, but there is the regular end that goes into your iMac. Then here is the other end, which is a completely different shape, so it's obvious it goes into the back of the actual accessory. And that's all it's included. The device with its screws already in, your USB cable, and manual in the box as well. That's it. Cable, device, little leaflet. That's what's included. Now just to briefly go back to other devices, other products such as Mac Pros or MacBooks. This you would think would be a really, really good device for a MacBook, but it's not really, because as you can see, the design is for an iMac. It is not designed to attach in any way to the MacBooks. Does that mean you can't use it? No, you can't attach it. But if you really needed to use this, say you have this for your iMac and something crops up where you need to use this with a MacBook, you can. You just have to place it basically like this next to your laptop. Then you can always plug the USB into it, then into the USB port on your MacBook, or if you're using a Mac Pro, the big black towers, you could do the same thing. But this does not attach properly to either. It will not attach to a Mac Pro or a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. It attaches to an iMac November 2012 or newer. So if you are thinking about getting this for something other than a slim iMac, you might want to reconsider, because it's not as practical, because you'd have to just use it as a hub sitting next to it, and that's not really the point, and it's not the type of design you might want for that. But if you want this for a iMac, as long as you make sure your iMac is from November 2012 or newer and it's a slimline ones, then this is really, really good. It looks really nice and it attaches to the bottom, And I've always thought it was a bit of an annoyance with the iMacs, how the ports are on the back, so you either have to turn the iMac around a bit, turn it to this, sort of sideways a teeny bit to plug something in, or kind of reach right around. And I actually think it's a little bit awkward plugging things into an iMac, at least unless you sort of just are able to easily shift the thing depending upon how your setup is. Whereas this allows you to basically add another 3 ports. Well, it is another 3 ports because yes, there's 4 ports, but 1 port on the device is taken up by this, so it adds an additional 3 ports to your device. And it looks on an iMac really nice. It attaches to the bottom, it goes together. It's not like this is black on a silver iMac. It is silver to match in with your iMac, and the cable is white, which fits in with the theme of a lot of Apple products being silver and white. Looks nice, works well, attaches easily, very easy to set up, works really, really well. Now with my setup here, I'm not easily able to show you it myself attached to iMac apart from product pictures, but I will show you it rigged up next to a MacBook if you're using it as a hub. Bear in mind, like I said, you don't attach these to iMac, so it will look a little weird because it will be sitting next to it, but it will show you it plugged in, and that's the best I can do right now with the camera setup I have in my home. So anyway, it's a little awkward for me to film it on anything else, but I will include product pictures. In fact, depending upon how I edit this video, I probably already have. And I will show you it just plugged in for the hell of it, really. Okay, now there is nothing really to see here. I'm not going to show you my desktop, and it's not a full tutorial or anything like that. And also this is primarily for an iMac. I just wanted to show you how you might have it rigged up, how you'd have to use it if you wanted to take it off your iMac or whatever and use it on your Mac, on your MacBook, like maybe if you're traveling or whatever. This is how you do it. You just attach the cable there, then attach it into one of your USB ports on the MacBook Pro. Depending upon what model you have of MacBook, if you're doing this, you'd have probably one USB 3 port on this side and one on the other. So either one will do. And there you are, you're good to go. You just plug in your devices, your USB thumbsticks, whatever there. If you need more power, you plug in a DC cable sold separately, or you might already have one. And as you can see, I haven't been even using it with the DC, I've just been using it here with the regular power, and that's how I've been using it on other things such as iMacs, things like that, to try it out. It just plugs in via this cable, and for most uses that is enough. You might need a little extra power, but then you have the option if you need to using DC. So, okay, well, what about the pricing in US dollars and UK pounds, and my opinion? And if I recommend it or not here? Okay, in the UK it costs about £18, it's $17.99, with a original recommended retail price of about £35, it would have been $34.99. In US dollars it is about $20, it's $19.99, with an original recommended retail price of about $40, $39.99. Do I recommend it? I actually do. Now, if you wanted to just use it on a MacBook Pro or some other device like Windows or a Mac Pro or something like that, maybe this isn't really for you because it's got all these little designs on it here and screws and stuff. On its own, it doesn't look as good as it could do, and maybe it's not for you if you want to use this just sort of sat here next to a PC or next to a laptop, whatever. Maybe you want to look to other things, but for what this is primarily aimed at, designed primarily for a slimline iMac, this is exactly what you would want. It is really good because it attaches neatly to the bottom of your iMac via these little bits here and the screws. It looks really nice, it blends in well, it attaches to the bottom, so there's no more reaching and bending around the back of your iMac anymore to plug stuff in. It attaches really, really well and looks the part, it really fits in. Then it attaches to the back easy enough, just like plugging in any USB, and you leave it plugged in. You don't have to unplug, replug, anything like that. Then that's all you need to do. But then if you find you're using quite a few devices that use quite a bit of power, or you're using a particular device that requires a lot of power, you do have the option of then attaching DC power from this to your mains power, or whatever you're going to be doing, however you're going to work it. And then you got more power for it as well. And it has a built-in surge protector, which is really good. It's something that not all products are necessarily going to have, and it is hot swappable. What is hot swappable? I haven't mentioned that yet. You probably already know, but if not, it is when something like this has power, it's turned on, and it's recognized by your computer, but then you plug something into it, and it will then recognize it on your computer. Whereas some things that are not hot swappable, if you have it all powered on, turned on, recognised on computer, then add something, it won't recognise it. You'd have to put the thing in, like the thumbstick or whatever, in first. I had a SD memory card that was like that. It wasn't hot swappable. So you put the SD card into the SD card reader, then into your computer, and it would pick the card up. But if you plugged in the card reader first, then plugged in the SD card, it wouldn't recognise the SD card. You'd have to take out the reader, put the card in, then put it into your computer, which is a bit silly. You don't have to worry about that with this. This is hot swappable. With a surge protector to hopefully protect your devices, your accessories as much as possible. All at a reasonable price of around $20. Or £18 in the UK. So if you have a November 2012 iMac, even the 5K models, then I really actually do recommend this. This is a very useful product to have. Thanks for watching. Please like and comment on this video, and if you could do me a huge favour and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as it will help me out a lot. Also, if you're watching this as a review on the Amazon product page, please hit the useful or helpful button. That will help me out a lot too. Thanks for watching.